Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Degrassism. And how serious I am about this Degrassism? Well, I mean, the lights are down and all that. It has a creepy vibe to it, and I have a creepy spin curl because I just got out of the shower. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, so this is based off of the Degrassism poll I did on Reddit about what should be my 150th Degrassism. Number 150 ended up being the top 10 things I learned from Reddit, which I clumsily talked about. And then 151 is defending Emma, Maya, and Claire. You know, Emma 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 being Emma, Claire, and Maya and their actions. So this one also made the poll list as a good topic. So this is number 152, Degrassism, and this is about J fucking Hogarth. You can tell by my voice that I'm just unhappy with this J guy whatsoever, and I need to rant on this guy. Jay, to me, is the biggest living Degrassi villain around. Rick is dead, so technically Rick can't be in the same class as Jay. Also, you may think there are other Degrassi villains. Yeah, there were. Like, you know, Emma was a villain to some people's eyes. Like, Spitter, a villain in a way. Paige may think is a villain, but I don't think so. What about Derek? Yeah, he was a villain, but he wasn't a villain at first. In seasons 5 and 6, he was fine, and then he just turned into a villain. And then you got yourself Tristan. Like, he's a big villain. Yeah, but he has issues, and his personal issues basically cloud his judgment. But no, I'm talking about Jay Hogarth here. Jay Hogarth, to me, is the biggest dirtbag in Degrassi, other than Rick, of course. Now, in the YouTube description, I will post the video about me, the unpopular opinion about Jay being the devil on everyone's shoulders and all that. But the fact of the matter is that I have to rant about this right here, right now, and in the hereafter. Jay is a piece of garbage and all that. Now, I would probably shout heavily and all that. Oh, hey, there's my official mascot, Smokey, the Russian blue cat. Say hi, Smokey. Say hi, Smokey. I wanted to get Smokey on one of my Degrassi videos, like the introduction to 150 and 151, but she didn't pop up. It's okay. Don't worry, she's not being harmed. She's just being a silly goose. But yeah, she's my mascot. But anyway, yeah. So the simple fact is that, you know, Jay is the devil on everyone's shoulders, and I hate him for that. Normally I would be shouting heavily, but because I kind of did blow out my voice in a sense doing other projects and all that, I got to be careful. So here's what I think of Jay Hogarth. The devil on everyone's shoulders. He was. Season 3, he pops up out of nowhere to talk to Sean and make Sean break up with Emma and invites Sean to the Candy Bandits. And Sean leaves Emma in a mess, steals stuff to impress Jay and his gang, and just practically decides, I'm the man. I can do whatever I want. The simple fact is that Jay Hogarth got him into the Candy Bandits alongside Alex Towers and a few other people, and, you know, made Sean into a thug. Sean did get out of it by befriending Ellie during Saturday detention after being in trouble for stealing the stuff. And, you know, doing all that. Season 5, he was around when JT was trying to find money to help finance Liberty and her pregnancy. And Jay basically said that I know people who would sell their own mothers for OxyContin. And so practically he got JT to be a drug dealer. Now Jay did help JT out when JT overdosed on purpose to try to get out of his predicaments. And Jay called the hospital and all that. But he got JT to be a drug dealer. In season 6, he popped into the Sean, Peter, Emma love triangle by coursing Sean and Peter into a street race for Emma's heart because, Sean was upset that Peter had drugs in his locker and Emma didn't believe him. He's the one who told Sean to leave the scene of an accident, even though Sean was trying to help the victim by saying that they'll go easy on Peter, they won't go easy on you. Well, Sean eventually goes to jail because Emma forces him to come clean to the cops. And like Jay never gets found out. In season 7, he gets on Manny's bad side, makes Manny Coyle. Manny wanted to date Jay to get leniency from her parents and all that, but unfortunately she didn't get it. Like, they played along with her thing. And Jay was being a good guy. He gave Manny his mom's engagement ring, which was amazing. But the fact is that he also, in season 8, in the Degrassi movie, managed to get a Degrassi school bus from the ship and transported Manny, Emma, the studs, Peter and Sav and Sav and Peter's band across the border to Los Angeles so that Manny could get her movie role back with minors. That's wrong, and that led to the ship's downfall. Also, the fact that Hatzilakos came back to Regina at Peter's behest because of his 2-day drug binge did all that too. But the fact is that, Peter aside, Jay was a bad guy. He really was. But the one thing that takes the cake is his stupid behavior in season 4. So let me give you some context. Rick is back at Degrassi with no strings attached, as it seemed, and Radich and the staff are basically not helping the students out with their concerns, and the students are basically thinking that something's afoot. Jay figures that this is the best time to get involved because with Alex, his main squeeze, and her problems with domestic violence, which I know he probably knows about, the fact is that, he's got a point, and he's willing to help bully Rick. After all, the school is going to bully Rick no matter what. They do the silent campaign, the Orange Ribbon campaign, to get on Rick's nerves, but people decide to use the Orange Ribbon campaign as a way to get towards the fact that domestic violence and people who do domestic violence are terrible. So Rick is basically forced to vacate some stuff and all that. Everyone goes after him. But the fact of the matter is that even though Emma was wrong for starting the Orange Ribbon campaign, she had no clue that it was just basically a way to kick Rick out with violence in a sense. But the fact of the matter for Emma is that's forgivable. The sacrifice she made. So anyhow, once Timestamp Still starts, Jay gets involved and tries to beat up on Rick before Emma stops it from happening. And then he ends up pushing Toby into a locker when he finds out that Toby paid Darcy $5 to kiss Rick as part of the kissing bet. And also, let's not forget that the writers actually wanted Jay and Darcy to be siblings. That would have been cute. But the fact of the matter is that, Jay is upset when his car gets tagged and all that, and wants to go after Rick, especially after Alex says something. But Sean says that you can't because you'll incriminate yourself because Radish will want to know why Rick would spray paint the cars. So, of course, Jay, knowing that he can't get Radish involved, tries to think of a plan. And his dander gets built up a lot when Jimmy, who was part of the group to destroy Rick, it was all, by time sense, so it was just Jay, Spinner, Alex, and Jimmy in a sense. But Jimmy gets talked to by Rick saying that, they're going to go after me, and now they're going to go after Toby because they know Toby's affiliated with me. Especially when Toby gets hit by Jay and Spinner trying to demand where Rick was with the whole spray paint thing. So they watch in horror as Jimmy switches sides, and then Jay decides to do the right thing in his mind and basically talk to Rick, say everything is cool, and make sure he has no idea about the paint and feathers that's about to happen. A lot of people will be like, what if that tie break didn't exist? How were they going to paint and feather Rick? But I think they would have did it on the final round. I think that was the final round anyway. But simply put, Rick was in for trouble, and Jay knew it too. So with Rick's hopes up, they paint and feather him. He has no clue who it is. And then, of course, Jay has to come help Spinner out when Spinner brags to Jimmy about the prank. And then, if you don't watch the deleted scenes, you know that Spinner says Radish knows because Spinner finds out, oh my God, I just told Jimmy everything and now he'll blab to Radish. If you see the deleted scenes, you know that Radish wants to talk to Spinner at 3:30 for a talk after Spinner clucks at Rick. So anyway, to help his friend out, Jay decides to concoct a plan to pin everything on Jimmy because he knows Rick's in the bathroom because of the paint and feathers in the sink and in the stall. So they come up with the plan to make sure Jimmy was the bad guy. Jay, I think, also had it in the back of his mind that he would pin things on Jimmy because, Jimmy switched sides and probably to get Jimmy back on their side. So Rick shoots Jimmy and then almost kills Emma before Sean saves the day. Of course, Jay and Spinner had no clue that there was a gun, but Spinner did. He wanted to tell the police because he figured the police were going to figure things out, but Jay basically said, you can't do that. And Spinner says, he's my best friend. Either outcome, he was your best friend. So Jay manages to get Spinner and Alex to keep quiet about the affair until 3 months have passed and Jimmy's back at the school and Spinner felt like he needed to confess his guilt. Spinner at least had the foresight to confess his guilt, but 3 months? Nah, that sucked. So Spinner's rightfully ostracized. Jay basically makes things worse by telling Spinner off, saying, I knew you were Blab. Jimmy deserved to know the truth. So Jay and Spinner get drunk and crash Jimmy's welcoming party, and then Spinner gets told off. Spinner then decides to go to Hatzelako's, tells on himself and Jay, for that matter, and gets them expelled. Of course, the problem with Hatzelako's was she blamed Spinner for Rick's death. Your actions have caused a boy in a grave and a boy in a wheelchair. The wheelchair, yes, like I can see that, but blaming him for Rick's death, that is pathetic. Geez, Hatzelako's. I didn't like that. But, Spinner and Jay get expelled, and then they decide a few episodes later to come into Degrassi and burn it for spurning Spinner's attempts to try to get his schooling back because, he loses a year. But Jay does the right thing by telling Spinner, if you want to get your friends back, this is not the way to do it. And so practically he did. So practically he helped out. And, Jay and Spinner still had that friendship and all that, but Jay was always angry that Spinner was made a scapegoat and all that, and they basically put the fear of God in him. But Spinner told on his own accord. Let's not forget about that. And let's not forget about the other season 4 problem with Jay is with Emma giving her a social disease, gonorrhea, and basically bragging about it. Like being aggressive towards Emma, creepy towards Emma, and taking advantage of a zombified Emma, if you will. Emma who is not herself. So what can you do? Well, Emma was basically a zombie and trying to get back to the Emma she knew and loved, and not a lot of people loved. But yeah, Jay gives Amy and Alex gonorrhea. They can't perform in the school play, and Liberty and Manny have to fill in alongside Emma, of course. Jay was rightfully told off by Emma saying, you gave me a social disease. And Jay says, I thought you were virtuous. I don't feel virtuous right now. And then Jay basically tells Emma off, and then Emma realizes that she should be who she is. And then basically, in a partial way, just confesses her guilt about Rick and all that. But Jay is a bad guy. I mean, look at his resume. He gets Sean to break up with Emma in season 3, join the Candy Bandits, steal stuff from Degrassi, sell it, and live the thug life. He manages to get Rick's hopes up not once but twice by making sure he didn't know he was going to be painted and feathered, and making sure that Rick went after Jimmy instead of them for the whole painted feather thing. But of course, it wasn't them. Putting the blame on, telling Spinner and Alex not to say anything about the whole thing, giving Emma a social disease, making sure JT sold drugs in season 5, rightfully losing Spinner as a friend in season 5, and then trying to gain Spinner's acceptance, which he did in season 6, And then season 6, forcing Sean to flee the scene of an accident, even though Sean was trying to help the victim. And season 7 being with Manny in the first place. And the school bus in season 8. Jay is a giant villain. And no, I'm not blasting on Mike Lobo. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Of course, Mike Lobo's the player, and Jay Hogarth is the game. So that's just how I feel about it. I don't know how you feel about it, but yeah, Jay to me is the biggest living villain in Degrassi, bar none. Stick it where the sun don't shine. Sorry, but that's the way I am. And anyway, I'm going to symbolically cut this fucking spin curl because it's just not me. It's just not me. There. That stupid spin curl. But anyway, yeah, the spin curl represents the spin of Jay Hogarth. Fuck him. That's just how I feel. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.